Hey, fifth graders, welcome to your final tense. We'll of course have 2 weeks on this, just like the last ones, but this is the final one we are going to learn about, and it's called perfect continuous tense. We are combining perfect tense and continuous tense and creating a new tense. Now this can be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to do my best to explain it. We know perfect tense. It's something that happens in the past, and it's called perfect because you can kind of think about it that it's already happened and it's finished. Okay, like I had washed the car yesterday. Past tense, I had washed it. It happened yesterday and I finished washing the car. So it's combining that finished product, that finished activity, but we're also adding continuous, which means that at some point it was an activity that continuously happened. It wasn't just a one-time event. It happened over and over and over again. I think the best way to show this is through a sentence example. So I have a sentence. I had been going to the gym, but stopped once COVID hit. Let's see if I can get the chart up at the same time here. Oh, perfect. So I had been going to the gym. We've got our verb that ends in an ing, and we've got our helping verb. In this case, it's been. So I had been going. So I was continuously going to the gym. But something happened that I had to complete that activity. In this case, COVID hit. So it happened in the past. I was continuously doing it, but something made me stop, which created that perfect tense. I had to complete that activity or perfect that activity. So I had been going to the gym, but stopped once COVID hit. One thing to make note, when we are looking at perfect continuous tense, we need to have 3 things. We need to have has, had, or have, just like in perfect tense. We need to have the helping verb been. And just like in continuous tense, our verb needs to end in ing. I put that v-ing. Oops, you can't see that. Verb-ing to show that. So again, you need to have has, had, or have, plus the helping verb been, plus your verb ending in ing. Let's make sure we have that here. I had been going to the gym. Okay, let's look at present tense. Present tense, as you can see, here's our present tense. It started in the past and it's still happening, okay? But what's different with perfect continuous tense is that there's an ending in sight. We need to add onto our sentence words that show that the activity has ended. Let me show you a sentence example. Let's see, we need our has, had, or have. And it's present tense, so I have been. And so I've got been, we need our verb with the ing. I have been working. I have been working hard today. We got to add more to this though, because this could be very similar to continuous tense. I could just say, I am working hard today. That'd be continuous tense. It's something I'm continuously doing. Or perfect tense would be I have worked hard today. That would be something that happened already. But we're combining them. So it needs to be something that is continuously happening, but there's an ending in sight. So we're wrapping up the activity. We're wrapping up the working hard. So I have been working hard today, but I will relax tonight. See how I added to that sentence to show that my working hard is going to complete, it's going to finish an activity. I'm still going to have to work hard. I'm still going to be doing that. But by the end of the day, I'm going to relax. So I'll be wrapping up that activity. This would be an example of a present perfect continuous. Our final one is future. Future tense, as you can see, because it's continuous, it's something, we've got lines in the past, so it's something that had happened, and it's continuously happening in the future, and it will continue to happen until, because it's a perfect tense as well, something is going to make that activity end. Something is going to stop that. It could happen. It could stop. Remember, we need has, had, or have. We need been, and we need a verb ending in ing. Let's do a sentence example. Let's see. And it's future tense, we need shall. I shall have been meeting with Mr. Shively every Wednesday. I'm going to shorten my Wednesday virtually. Times of COVID. Okay, I shall have been meeting with Mr. Shively every Wednesday virtually. We would make this continuous if we just had I shall be meeting with Mr. Shively every Wednesday virtually. That's going to continuously happen. If it was perfect tense, we would say I shall have met with Mr. Shively every Wednesday virtually. Perfect tense would be that's going to happen in the future, and that's going to be the end of it. But when we combine them, I shall have been meeting with Mr. Shively every Wednesday virtually. It needs to continuously happen, and there needs to be an end point. So we're going to add more to this sentence, and I'm going to say until COVID is done. So it's important to remember that for perfect continuous tense, we have the beginning of our sentence, and there's always some sort of but or until to make it complete, our continuous action completed. It's a little bit different, isn't it? This is something that, yes, we might not say all of these words because we are native English speakers, but believe it or not, they have these tenses in other languages too. And it's just a way to be more specific in the way that we talk and the way that we describe what we are doing. I think it's also fun to just critically think about the sentences that we're using and why we use them. So we're looking at this as a linguistic mind. So linguists are people that study language, and that's what we're doing here. So for your assignment, let's do one together. You need to have your packet, and we're going to work on perfect continuous tense cycle number 1. I'm gonna move this, whoops, up. We'll zoom in a little. All right, My verb is going to be to love. I'm going to make my note that this is I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. Let's make a note to remind ourselves that in perfect continuous tense, you need the words has, had, or have, plus the word been, plus your verb ending in ing. So we're going to fit all of those things into our boxes here. I think we can do it. Let's start with first person singular. I'm just going to write in singular, 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 plural, 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 because that's easy. Okay, first person present tense. We use I, and since it's present, we need to use have. I have. We need been. And our verb is love. And in our perfect continuous tense, we add an ing. So, loving. Have been loving. You see that okay? For past tense, our helping verb of have changes to had. So we'd write had been loving. And future tense, we need that shall. I'm just going to make a note up here that we need shall or will for all future tense. Future tense, first person, shall have been loving. Whoa, 4 words in that tiny little box. Do the best you can. All right, let's look at second person. Our pronoun is you. So you present tense would be you have been loving. Past tense would be you had been loving. So an example for this might be you had been loving pizza until you got food poisoning from Pizza Hut. Okay, so the continuous tense is you had been, let's look at this. Let's look at our chart. You had been loving pizza until you got food poisoning from Pizza Hut. So you had been loving pizza is happening here. Sorry about that. You had been loving pizza has been happening here until something stops and you got food poisoning. So that ends the activity. So it happened in the past. We're not going to write that whole sentence just in this tiny little box though. It would never fit. And future, of course, is will have been loving. If you're not doing this along with me, go ahead and pause this and get your packet so you can do this with me. It only makes sense. That way you have a correct chart when you go to do the rest of them. Third person, she has been loving. Past would be had been loving. And future will have been loving. First person plural, I'll go through these here and I'll let you know what your assignment is. We have been loving. Had been loving. And because it's first person, shall have been loving. If you need to pause to catch up, please do that. Second person, you, and we're going to follow the same pattern as singular. You have been loving. You had been loving. And you will have been loving. And third person, plural, they have been loving. It's pretty repetitive, isn't it? They had been loving, and they will have been loving. There it is. So you need to go ahead and finish copying these notes here. Pause if you need to. When you're ready, you can play the video. You'll need to complete one more verb here, plus 2 more verbs on this one. Really practice that. And on the back side, you're going to analyze some of these sentences. So this first sentence says, I have been playing. We have the have, we have been, and we have the verb ending in ing. So we know it's continuous tense. We see I, so we know that's first person and it's singular. And we've already decided it's continuous tense. Now we need to figure out if it's present, past, or future. If it was past, this helping verb would be had. If it was future, we would have the will or shall. Since it doesn't have those, we know it's present. And since it has the have, the been, and the ing, we're going to label it also perfect continuous. Let's do the next one. He is third person. It's singular. We've got the had, we've got the been, we've got the ing, so we know it's perfect continuous. Since it has had, we know it's past. So we'd say past perfect continuous. We can shorten continuous like that. Let's skip down to the fourth one here. You have played. You is second person. You can be singular or plural. Now we have. We don't have been, and our verb doesn't end in ing, it ends in ed. And we've got our helping verb, has, had, or have. So that means it's perfect tense, and it is you have played present. So we'd write present perfect. So for all of these, you need to label present, past, or future, and if it's simple, perfect, continuous, or perfect continuous. So make sure you label both of those. The last part of your assignment is to then journal every day. And this week, I'd actually like you to choose a spot outside. I like to call it a single spot. And in that spot, you'll go to the same spot every day and journal for 10 to 15 minutes. Even if you finish your journaling in 5 minutes, I'd like you just to sit out there for 10 or 15 minutes and soak up some sunshine, vitamin D, breathe in some fresh air, and just observe. Write down what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you can touch. There's a lot we can observe just by sitting still out in nature for 10 to 15 minutes. So I'd like you to do that in your journaling this week. Have fun and enjoy.